Hi, I'm Julian. I'm going to talk to you about the world of luthiery. I am a luthier, that is a maker of violins, violas and cellos, and repairer as well. I'm going to just do a brief overview of the craft. Now, in luthiery, you handle historical artifacts, old violins that when taking the front of an instrument, it almost feels like you're going back in time. Sometimes you can be the very first person that's seen inside that instrument for 200 years. Maybe there's a secret message left there by the maker telling you how he made the instrument or what he made it out of, or just effectively saying hi or writing his name. It's the developing your hand skills for this heritage craft as well. The option of being employed or self-employed. The idea of creating a style which works for you. You can make it as academic or not, as you like. And it's in the job, there's so much variety as well. And you have to remember, when making the instruments, you're potentially leaving a legacy behind. Now, like many people in luthiery, there's two ways that you become a luthier currently. One is following family's footsteps, or two, like me, you happen upon it by pure chance. Now, with this video, that's what I'm trying to change, opening it up to more people. Now, I came across it because my violin teacher's husband, when I was younger, learning to play the violin, was a luthier. And I used to sit and watch him through his window, wondering what he was doing, whittling away with wood and carving this and making a mess that, until I realized that the thing he was creating was actually the thing that I was going to be playing in my lesson. Something that makes a fantastic sound when played beautifully. Now, I found out actually after being at school that I was dyslexic. So academics don't come naturally to me. And I found it fitted really well. The craft worked really well with me because I wasn't having to write essays. I wasn't having to do endless things on the computer if I didn't want to. If you do, you can. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you like, really. Now, there are different elements to this craft as well. There's pure woodwork. That's the carving of the wood. Like the front of the instrument is made out of a solid piece of wood that has to be carved out. It's not bent, even though it's curved. Same for the back. Now, the ribs, the sides, those are thicknessed to 1 millimeter thick, and they are bent. They're bent on a hot bending iron. But those are the only things. The scroll is carved out of a solid piece of wood, along with the neck. We work to 1/10 of a millimeter using traditional hand tools and modern machine tools. Again, use what you want, it doesn't matter. And there's an element of alchemy or chemistry involved as well when creating varnishes. You can cook using old recipes from 400 years ago, using various tree roots, plant roots, ground up bits of stone and colors and pigments to make the undercoat color and then putting the varnish on top, or beetles as well. If you don't want to do that, go to a shop and buy your varnish. It's your choice. There's fine art involved, especially with the antique instruments. If the varnish is damaged and it's coming and needs repairing, you need to make that disappear. So you have to copy the colors exactly, even painting in the grain lines if they're not clear enough, and a little bit of damage to make it match the other damage of the varnish that you see. And then with the kind of historical side of things, how far do you look into that? You can look in as far as you like, really. Looking back 400 years 100 years, 200 years, 300 years to past makers to see how they made their instruments. What techniques did they use? What can I learn from them? And in doing so, you get a better eye of being able to work out the instrument, who made each instrument and their characteristics for that maker. The other thing is that can help with that is dendrochronology. That's the plotting of the grain lines on the front of the instrument. Now you plot the grain lines from a photograph, you put that into a database, and you can work out where the tree was growing from the front of the instrument, what time period, how well it growed, where it growed. Now, why do I need to know that? What is the purpose of that? Now, the reason you'd want to know that is working out who made what instrument and when. And in doing that, one, you work out, so you might have a violin. This violin, let's say £1,000. If I can work out which country that violin was made, that could be a £10,000 instrument now. If I can work out which family of makers or style of making that made it in that country, which province, where, that could be £100,000. If I can work out exactly which maker made that violin, could be £1 million, could be multiple £1 million. So it's working out, it's detective work as well. There's also an element of this job is the bow maker, the arquetier. Without the arquetier, you're going to be plucking those strings. You won't be bowing. So the arquetier makes these, the violin bows. They have to know silversmithing and goldsmithing as well, because of the silver work and the gold work. Now, this instrument, I don't know if you can see, has had a bit of carving, engraving done. You can make this is the Parisian eye. You can make that more beautiful. It's got shell in the middle. It's got abalone shell in the middle from the sea. So, and also another elements to this job is, do you work for a company or are you self-employed? Working for a company, you get to work in a team. You get to collaborate with them potentially. You get to learn from them, share information. You have a boss. You have a regular pay packet. You can also, and you have a set amount of days you go on holiday, and you have to go in every day or whatever days you decide. You're self-employed. If you're self-employed, you choose when your holidays are. Your time is your own. You make your hours. When a customer comes to you, you get almost 100% of that money rather than most of it going to the shop or your boss. But you have to find the customers. If they don't come in, you don't get paid. And it can be solitary as well, working on your own. But you can mix the two, which is what I do. I'm self-employed, I have my own business, but I also work for other people once a week. So I mix the two, collaborate with people, but also developing my own business and my own style. So it's rewarding and demanding as well, especially when a customer comes in and needs an instrument of bow rehair, putting a new horsehair here in the bow, and they need it ready for tomorrow or later on that day because they have a big concert coming up. Now, a couple of questions in the past that people have asked me are, do I like my job? Yeah, I love my job. It's not really a job, actually. It's a hobby that pays me quite well. I never have that Monday morning feeling because I never go to work. I do something I love. Another question I get is, can you get rich? Like, yeah, you can get rich if you put the work in, if you're dedicated enough, if you learn enough. But I was told this once, and it stuck with me. There are more millionaires who pursue their loves and dreams than there are people who sought to become millionaires. Now, that basically means if you follow your dream, you're going to be more satisfied you might become a millionaire. But if you look for money, looking for the job which pays you the most amount of money, you might have money, but you may not be happy. It's things to weigh up and think about. Now, I'm not going to tell you to be a luthier. I'm not going to tell you to be an archetier. It's not my job. It's your job. Just remember this. If you are a luthier, if you are an archetier, the things you make will outlive you. And you'll be leaving a legacy for future generations to remember you by.